looking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his way. And no message could be any better. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make a change. Hello, family members. We are still in our family house, Life and Living with Samson Olatunji. I want to really thank you all for your encouragement, words of encouragement, for your actions of thumbs ups, and subscriptions to this channel, and your comments that have been very useful. Even if you are with us for the first time and you are attentive, I still thank you very much. You are encouraging us. Once in a while now, I will want to be acknowledging some particular people because of their outstanding support for this channel, because you are the ones that are really working to make the channel go on. And the first person I also want to thank Pastor Matthew Temitope Thompson. In Lagos, he has always been a wonderful brother, giving me words of advice and all that. And in the same vein, I want to thank Reverend Israel Adeoye of Higher Grounds Baptist Church in Ibadan. He has been a great source of encouragement to me to keep this program running. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you, as I appreciate others too. What are we talking about this time in the family house? We're talking about hypocrisy. Are you a hypocrite? That's the question we're asking now. Are you a hypocrite? Am I a hypocrite? We need to ask this question. And I want to let us know that the first time I became conscious of the concept of hypocrisy was when I was in Form 4, that is in high school, when I was in my BK class, that is Bible knowledge class. The woman that taught us so passionately, so eloquently, so bringing the stories of the Bible to us as if we are viewing everything, and also not failing to bring out the morals of the stories, was no other person than a woman of blessed memory, Mama late S.O. Oguntade of Lagelu Grammar School at that time. Until her demise a few years ago, she was a chieftain of the Women Missionary Union of the Nigerian Baptist Convention, a wonderful teacher. While talking about hypocrisy at that time, she called her attention to certain groups of people, the group of the hypocrites and the group of sinners. She called, in the group of the sinners was the woman, the Samaritan woman at the well in John chapter 4. Jesus asked the woman, "Go and call me your husband." And the woman was sincere enough to say, "I don't have a husband." That was why Jesus was impressed to say, "You have spoken right, because you have had 4 husbands, and the man with whom you live now is not even your husband. You are living in adultery." But guess what? Before the end of the conversation, Jesus turned her into a representative of his message, an evangelist, to go to town to proclaim the good news. The other person, representative of the sinners group, was that woman caught in the very act of adultery. The stipulation in the Levitical codes given from God to Moses was that the woman was to be stoned to death. But what did Jesus do? Jesus rescued her from her accuser. The accusers ran away, one after the other. At the end of the day, Jesus asked her, "Where are your accusers? Who has condemned you?" The woman said, "No one." Jesus said, "Neither do I condemn you. However, go and sin no more." Meaning that Jesus was saying, I condemn the act of adultery. It's a sin. I do not condemn you. I now give you the power to go and sin no more. That was how she too became an evangelist. Now the other group, the group of the hypocrites. The group of the hypocrites also was populated by people like the priest who refused to help the man who had fallen into the hands of thieves and robbers, like the Levites who saw somebody groaning and didn't help, and other people, the Pharisees. But Jesus' reaction to the sinners was that of compassion, while his reaction to the hypocrites was very terse. He was not sparing them at all. He was always pronouncing woes on them. Woe to you, hypocrites. While he welcomed the sinners who acknowledged their sins into the kingdom, he pronounced woes all throughout on the hypocrites. And this means we need to consider being a hypocrite and what terrible consequences it has. From that time, I've always consciously tried to extract my life to see if I am hypocritical in one way or the other. Because I would rather be a sinner that has been forgiven than a hypocrite on whom the judge pronounces woes. So that partially answered the question, why talk about hypocrisy? But who is a hypocrite? A hypocrite is somebody who pretends to be what he or she is not. Usually, who pretends to be good, who pretends to uphold a virtue, some very good values, but actually the life the person leads contradicts the profession from the mouth. Why talk about a hypocrite again? One of the reasons we have to talk about hypocrisy is that a great percentage of the people around you, a great percentage of the people around me are hypocrites. In fact, some psychologists have said every one of us is a hypocrite, that you cannot run away from hypocrisy. And considering how terrible hypocrisy is, and some experts have said we cannot run away from it, it means we have to study it. One fascinating thing also, fact about hypocrisy is that there are people who are non-deliberate hypocrites, while some are deliberate, pathological hypocrites. Now let's look at it from the angle of some formula or the other. One I will say is O plus A equals hypocrisy. O stands for opinion, A for action. There are circumstances in which we condemn some things in our opinions, maybe things we don't even understand fully. And when the chips are down and we are to act, we realize that we are not able to live up to the standard that we have professed in our opinions. Such people can be described as non-deliberate hypocrites. They didn't know, just like Peter, who said, Master, I can die with you. I won't deny you. He meant it. But when push came to shove, he denied. That is O plus A equals hypocrisy. But the other group is A plus O equals hypocrisy. Action plus opinion. These ones have fallen before they start professing something different. Their action precedes their opinion that they express. That is deliberate hypocrisy. So while you may not be a deliberate hypocrite in a situation, how about the possibility of being a hypocrite that is not deliberate? O plus A. Then we now have the people on whom Jesus was always raining woes, always pronouncing woes. Those ones were pathological hypocrites. They were constant hypocrites. Those can be represented with O plus A plus O plus A plus O plus A, or A plus O plus A plus O plus A. They continually and continuously live in denial of the standards that they proclaim that they live in. And if I don't know the dynamics of hypocrisy, I may be hypocritical without being conscious of it. I'm now imploring us, as we look into the mirror, talking to the man in the mirror, let's fight against hypocritical tendencies in ourselves. Why do we need to fight against hypocritical tendencies in ourselves? Number one reason is that hypocrites are dangerous. I don't want to be dangerous to good people. The hypocrites around me, they are dangerous. I need to understand them. I need to know them so that I don't fall into their traps. Secondly, hypocrites are not just dangerous. Okay, the dangerous nature of hypocrites. If you ever seen or heard or read about any righteous person in their dispensation, whether in the religious circles or in the secular, they were killed by the hypocrites surrounding them. The hypocrites cannot stand the light of your integrity. They will want to kill you. They want to concoct falsehood against you. Apart from being physically destructive, they are also destroyers of the moral fabrics of their societies. By the time people start to believe in them because of the high moral standards that they preach or that they talk about or advocate, when people find out their true nature, a lot of people will now conclude that those moral standards are unattainable. Because this person has always been speaking passionately against it and is doing it, perhaps it's not possible. Hypocrites are a source of confusion to the coming generations. When people read or they hear about the lifestyles and the things they wrote and they said, the people are confused. That was why the Pharisees of those dispensations were agents of confusion to the people around them. They confused widows, they confused orphans and others. We have spoken about what a hypocrite is, why we need to fight hypocrisy. Then we need to know how. Because if we don't talk about the how, then we will continue to live in condemnation and discouragement. How do I deal with the hypocrites? Amen. The first thing I want to suggest is that you stick to your moral compass. Your moral compass is a result, it's a product of your experiences, of the teachings you have received, of events you have seen. And so stick to your moral compass, which you may have to modify. Even after you have modified it, stick to it. Don't throw it away. That's how to help you not to become a hypocrite. Tell yourself that you are not going to ignore your cognitive dissonance. What is cognitive dissonance? That is a situation in which there are two personalities living in you. One is emotional, the other is rational. And usually the rational is right, while the emotional is wrong. But some people are not conscious of the fact that there is the emotional part of them that is driving them towards certain things. And the emotional part usually drives people towards what is wrong. And when they have done the wrong thing, and the rational part is now vocal, they are ashamed to own up that they have done certain things. And as they try to cover it up, it soon becomes a habit. So always be conscious of cognitive dissonance that is happening within you whenever any issue is being discussed or you have to make a decision. You also need to be very slow to condemn others or things. A lot of people condemn things that they don't understand. They condemn people that they don't understand. And after they have pronounced the condemnation over and over again, and they have been known with and for that condemnation of the thing, and they themselves have to act. Maybe they are unable to do what they have recommended, and it's what they have condemned that they fall into. They begin to be hypocritical. I have observed that hypocrisy is more rampant among super religious people. And I've asked myself, why is this so? The super religious people are always fanatical, as we said in one of our previous videos. And so they condemn things before they understand those things. Now, when push comes to shove, they do what is rational, but they have always voicing out what their sentimental part has been saying, which they didn't consider it. For example, I know somebody, a particular man, who was trying to cheat on his wife with a friend of mine. And when my friend pointed out the fact that he was trying to dip his hands into adultery, now, of course, you have a wife. Why should you come to me? From the discussion, it became obvious that he desired to see his wife dead. From his utterances. Not quite a month later, in a public gathering, this same man was praising his wife to the high heavens, professing his love, saying, if there is an opportunity to come back to this life, you are the one I will marry. You are such an excellent woman. I love you so much. I can't trade you for anything. Well, when the second incident happened, I thought maybe our man had repented. He had realized how precious his wife was to him. But the hypocritical aspect of him came to the fore, because not up to a week after making that profession, he continued to pester my friend for a fling or something like that. I said, wow, because the man is a religious leader. But I've heard a lot of irreligious people who just boast about how they slept with many people, how they are still sleeping around. They're still sleeping around. And they are professing it. I have seen men who have boasted that they beat their wives anytime the woman misbehaves, that women cannot be taken seriously. They have to be taught. Whereas there are others, religious people, they beat their wives at home, but they come to condemn wife beating. I'm not saying wife beating is good, but it's because they know beating their wife is bad. That they are not able to boldly confess it. That is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is among religious people. They condemn before they realize that maybe sometimes even what they condemn is not that bad. Also, you need to be constantly conscious of the importance and influence of context when you want to judge issues. For example, to kill in a time of peace is murder. To kill at the war front is loyalty to one's country and also a survival strategy. You don't want to die. So the context defines whether killing is a sin, whether killing is ethical or not ethical in that context. But most people don't consider that. They just make overgeneralized statements about certain issues, condemning it, and when they find themselves in some situations that what they have condemned may be the more rational way to go, they do it and they pretend. That's what my people call chop, clean mouth. You also need to deliberately practice integrity. In everything you want to do, ask yourself, will I be bold to do this in front of others? Will I be bold to tell people I've done this? And when you do that, before you make a promise, before you condemn or recommend anything, if you are a practitioner of integrity, you consider all those. So you won't find yourself in a situation in which you are going to be hypocritical. Lastly, but not the least, I want to implore you to eschew boastfulness. Don't boast. Somebody is doing something that you think is wrong. Don't boastfully talk about it that you don't do it. Don't be like the Pharisee who was boasting. I fast 2 times in a week. I pay some of that. People that don't boast, they find it easier to confess their foibles than those who boast. Don't be boastful. Your moral compass is telling you others may be doing it, I won't do it because it's bad. But you are not going about boasting that I don't do it. You will realize that we have been talking about hypocrisy in ways that will make us to look inwards, not to look outwards. There are hypocrites all around us. We need to be strategic in dealing with them. But that is not what we are doing now. This is a season of talking to the man in the mirror. Later, we're going to talk about how we can help people who are hypocritical. But that's not the issue now. It's the man in the mirror we are talking to. So while we're still holding our mirrors, I thank you very much for giving me your time. We are still going to talk about something else later. Keep talking to the man in the mirror. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his way. And no message could be any better. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make a change. I love you.